Well, thanks for joining me again, Israelites and David Beit. I want to point out to Uno that we are not to partake of this voting system, for Yahuwah shall find you confederate for not having his son Yahushua as your king and high priest. Deuteronomy 17:15. Anyhow, me aquí en mi hombre, rolling, come in now and tell the people what Hilary Rodham-Clinton really did I say back then.
Her husband's violent crime bill in 1996.
Not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
We're making sure that South Carolina became the first state with body cameras. There's more work to be done, but you gotta lay down these markers, you gotta build for...
Look how she's treated. And then realize now she got kicked out. This occultic paid $500 for this fundraising event in North Carolina. But then she get kicked out. Look at the condescending tone, always with the sarcastic manner, you know, and just get out of here. And then of course the people there to support her, they are there because of the same campaign, and that's...
Listen to what I say. Okay, thank you very much. There's a lot of issues in this campaign. The very first speech that I gave back in April was about criminal justice reform and about
predators. You're being rude.
That's not appropriate.
Predators.
This is not appropriate.
That's rude.
Yeah, you want to hear the facts, you just want to talk.
I know that you called black youth super predators in 1994. Please explain the record. Explain it to us. You owe black people an apology.
Well, excuse us. That's inappropriate.
If you will give me a chance.
They are there because of the same campaign, and that's the problem. So we definitely are not feeling this. I know if you like me in the Hebrew community, and we're not trying to really tolerate this. You understand? The Most High put us in places like that, but we are not blind. We're not dumb. We have ears to hear, and they do hear. So right now we need reparations. And also, I want to point out, Yehuda, and to the other tribes from Asher, Gad, Levi, going up to Naphtali, Zebulun, Reuben, Simeon. We have to understand, to all Asherites and things like that, GOCC representing, that we're not just talking about Ahia and El Elyon, Yahuwah of hosts, but we're talking about how he's letting certain people rule in these last days. And so big up to Killer Mike for using his voice and bringing black stability and financial responsibility to the community, and he pointed out that Bernie Sanders is the better Democratic candidate. Bernie Sanders did get locked up and ting, and also he pointed out that we all know bring them to heel.
When you have an opportunity to tell two black girls to shut up and get off stage and you don't, and you shake their hand and you smile and you step to the side and you listen, that is a firm difference from turning around and staring at a little black girl and saying, shut up, I'll talk to you later. You're being rude, or allowing people to say that to her. I'm going to tell you, the proof is in the pudding every time. If I can find a picture of you from 51 years ago, chained to a black woman, protesting segregation, and I know 51 years later, you're willing to fold your arms, hold your head, and listen to two black girls yell and scream, rightfully so, as opposed to someone who will tell you to shut up after they read their own words.
Well, can I talk? And then maybe you can listen to what I say.
As opposed to someone who will tell you later, when it comes to your children dying in the streets. I know that the only person that I have the conscience to vote for is Bernard Sanders. I know that the only person that my logical, beautiful black mind will allow me to vote for is Senator Bernie Sanders. And I want to tell the other side, I know from going around and shaking hands and hugging these beautiful black faces in South Carolina, that goddamn firewall got a crack in it.
Okay, back to the issues. The issues.
I'm not the person who you're going to be saying heal to and stuff like that. That is ridiculous, and I do feel like, you know, they will understand once they take hold of our skirts. To all my fellow Hebrews who understand, but for right now, we're still in this, and we're letting them know that we want our reparations, we want our repatriation now in this hour. The repatriation is a must. We want to leave this Babylonian system. We want to be returned to our rightful place and heir. And yes, it is true that the UN has indeed, the United Nations has recognized that so-called African Americans and all Caribbean descendant people, as myself, from the diaspora, at least, should be paid reparations. So hopefully they read some of the papers that it was put in by Prince Emmanuel I. That, of course, is Holy Emmanuel I to some Bingi Rasta, who got these letters and documentations to file in the UN, which he did file in 1992 and again in 95 when Bill Clinton was president, before he did pass or transcend, as them say. But you know, he's still in the grave, just like our other forefathers, David, and Jah's in the grave as well. But Jah came to Jamaica to give his those charters after he was booed at his reading of the United Nations. And you have to remember, it was Selassie I who actually created and came up with the idea of the League of Nations, and that's why you still have to recognize Jah Rastafari as the creator of humanitarian rights. The League of Nations was the idea of His Majesty, so you can't forget the reading, the speeches and utterances of His Majesty. So now that same League of Nations, United Nations, all these years later, are advocating for us to get our reparations. So the time is drawing near for us. We have Hebrew Israelites like Brother Jacob doing their thing, and we're praying to the Most High that He will deliver us in this. The tribulation is near upon us, Israel, and we must wake up and be vigilant. Who understand? But for right now, we're still in this, and we're letting them know that we want our reparations, we want our repatriation now in this hour. And looks like Yahuwah is going to have our back. Finally, He's going to let children of Israel return, and we should come out with great substance. Yahuwah of hosts is His name, my strength, my redeemer.